everyone over there on YouTube, guess what? It's another Reaction Friday for me. And of course, we have a whole bunch of reactions for me to do. Now, if you want to put in your reactions or give me some ideas to react to, well, you can head over to the Discord for that. Oh my god, there's so many videos you guys keep putting. I see a couple shorter videos. Grim Clipper. I think I've seen that one. Maybe one of these days. Anyway, that's up to you guys if I react to that. But you have to comment down below, because comments do actually help me if you guys want these certain videos. Also the likes and the subscriptions. Hello, Lawbringer! Yes, we're gonna see what is the bizarre food of Fallout. Oh. Alright, see you later, Lawbringer. But yeah, the comments, the subscriptions, and the likes are really what tell me that you guys want more, because it's... And of course the views, but you know, that I feel like that's a given to say, but anyway. Let's head into this.
In Fallout, even the food on the shelf has a story to tell. By the eve of the Great War in 2077, American society relied heavily on mass-produced, highly processed foods. Brightly packaged instant meals and sugary snacks lined store shelves and household cupboards. Pre-war food manufacturers engineered products with extreme preservatives, intended to last for centuries. As war loomed and resources grew scarce, these indestructible foods became vital. Major food companies
I know you do, I know you do, Fruit Bat, and I'm really thankful for every single one. I don't want to seem like I'm not thankful for all the things my community does for me. But yeah, they get preservatives for everything because they always knew that nuclear war was coming. That is an interesting idea, that how much they made to preserve.
War loomed and resources grew scarce. These indestructible foods became vital. Major food companies sprang up to supply the demand, creating a robust industry of non-perishable cuisine designed for a society on the brink. Several pre-war companies dominated the packaged food market. Fancy Lads, for example, was a pre-war company that produced snack cakes. Its flagship product, Fancy Lads.
Well, I mean, even in our world, during this time, well, obviously not during this time, this is like 2077. During the time of where everyone was thinking about the possibility of a nuclear apocalypse, you know, people were selling, oh, you can build your own nuclear bunker in your backyard, or you could buy your own one, or have one set. Like, there were so many different, like, survival guides and survival kits for doom preppers, especially back then. You know.
Snack cakes consisted of twin frosted sponge cakes loaded with sugar and preservatives. Dandy Boy was another company known for Dandy Boy apples, essentially candied or dried apples packaged in a red box and adorned with this dapper apple mascot wearing a bowler hat and monocle. Blamco Foodstuffs was a notable firm specializing in convenient meal kits, such as Blamco mac and cheese. Meanwhile, Yum Yum deviled eggs were produced by the Yum Yum Company, offering pre-boiled stuffed eggs sealed and dried to remain fresh for generations. And of course, Cram, a spam-like candy, became almost a national staple. Though not tied to a single named corporation in the lore, it was manufactured in vast quantities for military rations, school lunches, and emergency reserves. Despite their cheery branding, these foods emerged in a time of mounting crisis. The resource wars and the Sino-American conflict disrupted agriculture, leading to chronic food shortages and rationing in the 2060s to the 2070s. The US government began constructing federal stockpiles to hoard non-perishable foods for the population. Fallout 4's Federal Ration Stockpile is one such facility, built to store huge deliveries of preserved foods for use in emergencies. In fact, there's a terminal in that location with a recorded scheduled delivery from Blamco on the very day of the Great War, October 23rd, 2077. This detail suggests that private food companies were directly contracted by the government to supply civil defense stockpiles, blurring the line between corporate production and federal emergency planning. The politics of food had become national security. Access to canned and boxed foods could mean the difference between order and chaos on the home front. Pre-war food brands in Fallout's lore were marketed with a mix of optimism, nostalgia, and dark humor. Advertising was omnipresent, often targeting children and invoking American patriotism, even in snack foods. Sugar Bombs, the quintessential nuclear age breakfast cereal, was advertised with the tagline "Explosive Great Taste" and featured wheat cereal puffs shaped like tiny atomic.
The companies, especially back then, will find any way to sell their product. I mean, hell, companies now will try to find any way to sell their product. Quite literally.
bombs. Its marketing explicitly played on wartime imagery, a grinning child mascot and cartoon explosions. In fact, each Sugar Bombs box came with a Captain Cosmos decoder ring as a prize, a promotion to entice children and tie the product to popular culture.
True.
These details underscore how Fallout's pre-war society was inundated with whimsical propaganda, even in the realm of food. The wholesome veneer of a Saturday morning cereal masked a diet of virtually pure carbohydrate and sugar, perhaps reflective of a society distracting itself from harsher realities. Fancy Lad snack cakes carried the slogan, "A big delight in every bite," a phrase borrowed from a real-world Hostess Twinkies ad. Billboards for Fancy Lads feature a cartoonish Fancy Lad mascot. This cutesy marketing stood in ironic contrast to the realities of 2077. Those same billboards would, a few years later, loom over starving crowds. In Fallout New Vegas, a member of the King's Gang in Freeside even jokes, "I'd give anything for a Fancy Lad," highlighting how legendary the brand remained long after the war. Dandy Boy apples were marketed with an old-fashioned flair. The very name Dandy Boy evoked turn-of-the-century nostalgia, appealing to tradition even as fresh fruit became a rarity. Every brand had a cheerful face or slogan, from "Easy does it, you little devil you," to "It keeps," the simple, blunt slogan for cram meat, emphasizing its astonishing shelf life. In short, pre-war food marketing in Fallout's universe was equal parts comforting and surreal, blending family-friendly imagery with the hard
Here's the thing. Everything tries to give you a distraction away from the stuff, or at least it used to, where commercials basically try to pull you away from that kind of stuff to, you know, just have fun with stuff. You know, especially food. Food will try anything to market to you. And I mean anything. Some of the ads over on YouTube aren't great, especially.
Truth that these foods were engineered for a world on the edge of apocalypse. While most pre-war food brands were nationwide, there were some regional variations and unique local products noted across different Fallout games. For instance, the packaging of Fancy Lad snack cakes differed between regions. In the capital wasteland, Fallout 3's Washington, D.C., and the Mojave, Fallout New Vegas, the cakes came in plain white boxes with a red logo and bow design. Whereas in the Commonwealth, Fallout 4's Boston area, the same cakes were sold in eye-catching pink boxes, a subtle indicator of either a packaging update or a regional marketing strategy. This suggests that even within the US, pre-war companies tailored their product presentation to different markets. Boston's packages may have been a newer design circa 2077, whereas the older stock out west still had the classic look. Regional tastes also existed. In Fallout New Vegas, set in the Mojave, you'd be hard-pressed to find the Nuka-Cola marketing juggernaut dominating every sign as it does in the east. Instead, the west has its own local beverage, Sunset Sarsaparilla, and foods derived from the frontier culture. Wasteland-made snacks like iguana on a stick reflect a post-war regional adaptation, but even these have roots in dark pre-war practices. Fallout 1 infamously reveals a vendor secretly selling human flesh under the iguana label to cut costs. In Fallout 4's New England setting, we encounter
I did a playthrough of Fallout 1. I don't remember hearing or seeing that. Ooh.
It's stout, and in Far Harbor, Vim Soda, a local main competitor to Nuka-Cola. While these are drinks, not foods, they highlight how certain brands were region-specific. For solid foods, the Greasy Prospector's improved pork and beans, the product, pork belly and beans and tomato sauce, was likely eaten coast to coast. But the Prospector imagery harkens to the frontier mythos. And in Fallout 76's Appalachia, one notable pre-war specialty is the vegetarian ham, a 32-ounce block of plant-based imitation ham that never spoils. The existence of vegetarian ham as a preserved ration highlights how diversified and technical food manufacturing had become by the war. However, once the bombs fell, these distinctions largely ceased to matter. Everywhere, people scavenged the same sugar bombs and cram from ruined supermarkets. Only in rare cases, such as the Nutritional Alternative Pace program at the Suffolk County Charter School in Fallout 4, do we see hints of localized food technology. Overall, the main food brands we've discussed were distributed widely enough that they survived.
This is the Fallout universe, and for some reason it's very strange with its food stuff, but, you know, common packaging, apparently a lot of these were made to last, which is understandable.
In ruins from California to Boston, a testament to the nationwide reach of companies like Fancy Lads, Blamco, and their peers. After the Great War of 2077, the population of survivors in vaults and on the surface had no choice but to rely on the Dutcherdus of the old world, including its food. Remarkably, the packaged foods of pre-war America are still edible 2 centuries later, exactly as advertised, albeit usually at the cost of radioactive contamination. In gameplay terms, consuming a 200-year-old Salisbury steak or a box of Instamash in any Fallout game restores a bit of health, but also adds a dose of radiation to the player.
Everything's
While the food
irradiated.
didn't spoil, it often absorbed ambient radiation over time. Fallout 4 even differentiates preserved versions of pre-war foods. Those are rare caches of pristine food that survived without irradiation. More commonly, Wastelanders simply accept radiation as a price of a meal, or they use rat-away medicine to counteract it. Despite the radioactivity, these ancient foods are precious resources. Many Fallout 4 characters comment on or covet them. The Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 4 has an investigation into missing food supplies. Crates of dried meat, Instamash, and Blamco mac and cheese were being stolen from their stores.
I mean, I understand them gathering food. An army marches on its stomach, so they need a hefty food supply.
Prompting one Brotherhood member to marvel that someone would go to all this trouble for a lifetime supply of cram. That line shows how valuable a large quantity of preserved food is in the post-war world, arguably as valuable as weapons or technology to some people. In Fallout 3, a ghoul named Murphy discovers that sugar bomb cereal can be fermented into a potent drug, trading one form of energy for another. And in Fallout New Vegas, the New California Republic sharecropper farms and the experiments of Vault 22 highlight a broader point. While society is trying to grow fresh food again, the wasteland still leans heavily on pre-war stock to supplement those efforts. It's a sobering thought that the last meals of the old world became the first meals of the new. The taste and nutritional value of these foods is often questioned in the lore. Characters frequently describe cram as barely palatable, variously called gross or weird in taste. Three Dog, the radio DJ in Fallout 3, jokes about the questionable freshness of Salisbury's steak on air. And companions like Kate from Fallout 4 will quip about the odd smell of a 200-year-old steak. The overarching irony is that these items, engineered to sustain life indefinitely, do so at the cost of quality. They keep people alive, but they're a far cry from the wholesome meals of the...
They probably don't taste like a homemade meal. They were just made for preservatives, and people would buy them in bulk because... Let me put this way. In my job, when I was having to look through a customer's house, do you know what I found? 20 giant buckets of preservative food. You know, mac and cheese, pasta, all that stuff. Heavy. These were big boxes. It's like he was waiting for them like these things were obviously not going to taste good when you finally need them. They're just meant to be filling. They're meant to keep you going. Because, as I said before, food's food. You need it to survive. They were preparing for World War III, 4, and 5 with how much food he had.
Ideal. Yet in the wasteland, a box of sugar bombs or a can of pork and beans can mean the difference between starvation and survival. This lends a poignant significance to the lore. Those garish boxes and tins are relics of a lost civilization, yes, but they're also daily sustenance for Fallout survivors. It's also worth noting how these preserved foods have entered post-war culture and mythology. The iconic Nuka-Cola spawned an entire cult in Nuka World and is used as currency by some traders. Similarly, the image of sugar bombs has persisted. Fallout 4 features custom power armor paint with the Sugar Bombs logo. Such details show that pre-war food brands have become part of the shared memory of the wasteland, symbols of the world that was. Consuming a Fancy Lad or Blamco mac and cheese is a tangible connection to the pre-war past. One of the few pleasures, however modest, that an individual in 2287 might share with someone in 2077. In the Fallout universe, food is far more than a background item. It is a mirror of societal values and struggles. Pre-war America's food lore reveals a country caught between abundance and annihilation. Companies churned out eternal snack cakes and miracle powdered meals to resolve shortages and to calm fears. The politics of the time meant that these companies worked hand in hand with government initiatives, from rationing programs to vault promotions. The fact that most people entered vaults, armed not just with weapons but with boxes of preserved groceries, speaks to the fundamental role of food in any civilization's security. After the bombs, those same preserved foods became the lifeblood of the wasteland. In a world where agriculture is tough and hunger is a constant companion, the legacy of Blamco, Fancy Lads, Dandy Boy, and their peers is one of salvation, if not exactly nutrition. Region to region, the labels may vary, but every survivor recognizes the common taste of a 200-year-old steak. A can of cram is not just a health item, it's a story of wartime rationing, scientific food preservation, and the lengths that people will go to for protein in a post-nuclear world. And a Fancy Lad snack cake symbolizes the lost innocence of pre-war life, a promise that a big delight in every bite could last forever, which, in a twisted way, it did. In Fallout Civilizational Collapse, food items are artifacts and actors. They testify to human ingenuity and preservation, the corporate and political machinations surrounding basic sustenance, and ultimately, the endurance of hope, however irradiated. Hope that people can still find something to eat tomorrow, from the ashes of yesterday. Every Fancy Lad cake or
Hey,
Blamco
Daisy.
mac and cheese in the
That's
wasteland
fine,
is a
Daisy.
small story of continuity in a world interrupted by catastrophe. And in the Fallout canon, those stories are as crucial part of the lore as any battle
yeah.
or vault experiment, illuminating how humanity survives, one meal at a time.
Yeah, he showed bits of the Fallout show. I could never get into that personally because as someone who knows the lore quite a bit, there are too many breaking points where I'm just like, okay, no, this is goofy. I mean, you can like the show if you want. I just couldn't get into it. Anyway, besides that point, yeah, it shows that the old world is still technically supporting the new, whether they like it or not. It's just what it is now. Hail it, run from it, do whatever you want with it. The world moves on. And they all kind of just gotta deal with it. I also say that I do love my sound alert for someone getting a gift sub. I am not handsome, thank you very much, but anyway. Is an arcane game if a hero can stun another hero unit for several seconds is... Well, it's actually really good to be able to stun units. Oh my god. The world collapsed and food exists. Well, food's always gonna exist as long as there's people around and people with aching bellies. That's just a fact of life. As long as there's people, there's gonna be food. Good, bad, or irradiated. Anyway, besides my talking points, thank you all so much for coming by. If you like this content, please, please, please do consider following, liking, subscribing. It's all very nice for you guys to do. And it helps me a lot. So, once again, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all later.